Sincere has cried for the first time in 33 episodes, and it has nothing to do with Melanie or how he has treated her. It is over, Casey! Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 33. I'm not going to hold y'all. I had to fast forward to the end. I couldn't take it. You know what I'm saying? However, I'm going to break all of that down coming up. We're going to start at the beginning and picking up where we left off, in which Melanie had gave Sincere some weird ultimatum in yesterday's episode that she was going to have him do all of these things and, prove his worthiness. And instead of y'all just going y'all separate ways, you know what I'm saying? And seeing if he improves or not and getting back together. But like I said, they had the SCX. So therefore, it was not going to go back to that. So Sincere says that he understands where Melanie is coming from in terms of how strongly her family and frankly his family reacted to their connection and all the drama and all the line that he's been doing on this show for 6 weeks. Sincere claims that he is going to fix everything, and he claims that he wants Melanie in his life. And he's going to do it. He's going to be honest for a change, and that is it, and that is all. And that he really wants to do this with Melanie. And then it was funny because Sincere asked Melanie for a hug, and she wanted to tend to her water bottle. She wanted to tend to her drink. And so then you know what I'm saying? So then they're standing up, right? And so then he hugs her, and she doesn't hug him back. So then Melanie is saying that she still likes him. However, she doesn't feel bad for Sincere getting cussed out by the people. But ultimately, here's how the story ends. Melanie is always going to take back Sincere. That is always the end. You know what I'm saying? We can have arguments and back and forth and discourse all day about which Islanders support what and which Islanders support who and all this and all of that. But the bottom line is they have lived with Melanie and Sincere for 6 weeks. They know that they are always going to break up and get back together. Anaya called it, week 2, that this is going to be the toxic couple, you know what I'm saying, of the season, that they're going to continue to be a toxic hot mess express. So then Dylan, for some reason, he has commentary on everybody else's couple except for his own. Make it make sense. So he is looking, I guess, or peeping the conversation between Sincere and Melanie. And he's like, I think Melanie, she's just in her head. And Kenzie's like, in her head about what? And he's like, family, S-H-I-T. She's in her head about her family because of Sincere. And he said that Melanie's family was too harsh on Sincere. Are you kidding me right now? Have you lost your effing mind? Are you serious right now? What are we saying? What? So ultimately, Melanie is walking by herself. Anaya goes to find her bestie, and Anaya's like, that the way you look right now, you look like a shell of yourself. You are scaring me right now. How was the conversation? What is the tea? Let us know. And so Melanie was like, listen, Sincere is saying all the right things, but there is something that is severely off with him. And so ultimately, you know what I'm saying? She was Sincere. Now, this is an interesting development. Apparently, allegedly, he is pulling Bryce for chats to consult about Melanie and not Casey. I thought Casey was your A1 day one. But I keep seeing you Sincere with Bryce. So what's really good, because at the end of the episode, I'm of confusion. So ultimately, Sincere says that, the question was asked about, the opinions on Family Day, what they thought, and if there was anybody, and he said that he understood that her family's going to be overprotective and supportive and all of that. It hasn't registered for Sincere the severity of the Family Day, I don't think. I think for him, he was like, yeah, I'm going to get cussed out, but Melanie's still going to be here. So what y'all going to do about it? Like, that's the energy he was giving. He was giving very cocky. So Bryce said, well, there was a missed opportunity because all the families are bonding. They're having heartwarming moments. Everything is positive. And unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Y'all's family, y'all focused on the mess and the chaos of it all, right? And then even in my mind, I'm still like, why didn't Sincere pull KC for this conversation? And so then Sincere said his actions, his behavior had hurt someone else and it hurt our families and all of this and all of that. And he understands and he would feel the same way if that happened to him and all of this and all of that. And so Bryce was like, well, listen, look at here. If you want to be with Melanie, if you want to, lock it down with her, you've got to prove it. You've got to be there for her and show up for her day in and day out and all of this and all of that. And so then Melanie said that ultimately she does not want to look like a dummy, but she doesn't know what she is going to do in the grand scheme of things between her and Sincere of it all. Melanie, you're not going anywhere. Y'all had SEX. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not. Here's what's going to happen. Melanie is going to try to convince her family to accept Sincere. That's going to be her mission. Her mission is going to be trying to prove her family wrong, because that is what happens in these types of toxic situations. You either fall out with your family and your friends, or you stress yourself out day in and day out trying to prove your family wrong, or it comes to a point where you can't bring dude around the family and all this and all of that. Like it's just nothing but chaos. So Anaya tells Melanie, you are my main priority. How do you feel? What is going on with you? All of the things. And so Melanie's like, I'm just thinking out loud right now. All of this, all of that. Then Bryce is like, you got to move forward, Sincere. And Sincere is like, yeah, she just means so much to me. So Melanie and Anaya, they are walking towards the girls' dressing room, right? And so what happens when Melanie is walking past Sincere and Bryce, right? So she's giving Sincere the googly eyes. And this is why, you know what I'm saying? This is why I can't take Melanie seriously. She wants that man. She's not letting that man go. You can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves, that doesn't want to be helped, you guys. She has to want to be the one to let go of Sincere. It doesn't matter if she is asking the entire villa for advice. She knows she's going back to that man at the end of the day. So what do you do as a friend? You can give her the hard-hitting truth that this is not healthy, that this is not right and all the things. But then it gets to a point, if y'all keep getting back together, it's like, if you like it, I love it. If you like it, I love it. And this has been going on for 6 weeks. So here goes Melanie to Sincere. She stops. She's like, am I going to see you later? No. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, right? So then we have a scene with Carl and Anaya in the speakeasy after she has left, you know what I'm saying, Melanie to her own devices. And her and Carl start kissing. They start talking about the family visit, how it was emotionally charged in a good way. And Anaya was like, you were right about your family, Carl, how they're not on the BS, how they're not on the drama and all of the things. And Carl was like, well, your family, Anaya, is not on the BS either. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, listen, my family don't play. My family don't play. They keep it real. They keep it a buck. The whole nine. Oh, a sidebar. Anaya's family got up on out. I don't know if they're still in Fiji or not. I just know they were not a part of the family dinner with all the other families, with all the other contestants. But listen, look at here. Listen. With some of these people, how some of these relatives have been moving on social media, I wouldn't be faking the funk with them either. Anyways, so Anaya and Carl, they're still in the speakeasy. And you know how Anaya is. She's got her legs propped up on Carl, you know what I'm saying? And all over Carl. And then Carl was like, I need you to get down. I need you to lay down. And I was like, wait, what's about to go down? What's about to go down? And it was Carl kissing Anaya down. And production cut the footage. Production cut the tapes. Production cut. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see love. They don't want to see love. You know what I'm saying? The best that we were going to get is that say less kiss where Anaya climbs on top of Carl. We're not going to get anything else that tops that. Now their scenes are going to be left on the cutting room floor because it's giving too hot for TV. It is giving too hot for TV. What else happened in that speakeasy, you guys? I need to know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. What else happened in that speakeasy that production quickly ran away from us? You know what I'm saying? And then, who is the sound engineer that is playing this terrible karaoke version of Shaka Khan's Ain't Nobody? Y'all need to be slapped. Y'all couldn't clear the, royalties or whatever the case. Y'all couldn't clear the original song. You didn't want to pay Shaka Khan. You know what I'm saying? Or the Prince estate. I can't remember if Prince wrote that too or not. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? So then there's a conversation with Kata and Zack Attack, you guys, and she thinks that her mom and her family really like Zack. Here's the thing, Kata. Your family sugarcoated all of Zack's nonsense because they want you to win the show. They sugarcoated everything. You know what I'm saying? And it was BS. They said, oh, he took a couple jokes that we didn't know was serious, and he made that comment about the bombshells after the hideaway, but y'all really didn't go in. Y'all didn't go in on the disrespect, how much Zack Attack negs Kata and everything else, and how he talks about her behind her back and tries to pawn her off to other men whenever he's mad at her. No. So then we have a conversation where TT is sitting on Casey's lap, and they're talking, and TT almost let out that she loves him. And she was like, I love... And Casey was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I caught you. And TT was like, listen, look at here. I like you, but it is too early for any of that. And she was like, well, I'm not saying the L word first. And here goes Casey defenders. Well, I'm not going to say it first either. What? This is what I'm saying, y'all. Casey is not trying to do no work for these ladies out here. You know what I'm saying? You got to do all the work. You got to say, I love you first. You got to hold him down. You got to speak up for him. You know what I'm saying? While Casey just sits back and smiles. You know what I mean? That's Casey. That is who Casey is. He just wants to sit back and smile and give you goofy faces. And you are the one carrying the relationship. It couldn't be me. So anyways, all the girls are in the dressing room at this point. Anaya is saying that she loved meeting everybody's family, that everybody was dope. And Trinity said everybody's family looked good. And Kata was like, listen, Anaya, I don't know between your mom and your sister, but y'all look like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all all look like twins. I couldn't even tell that was your mama. And Anaya was like, thank you. My mom's going to really love that. She's going to appreciate that and all of this and all of that. And then Anaya, there was another scene back in the girls' dressing room where it was Anaya and Melanie in there, and Anaya was on the floor twerking. She was just twerking. But I feel like Carl has brought out a different side of Anaya. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the inner freak. I don't know what's going on. But he has definitely brought out a side of her. I feel that TT has brought out a side of Casey and all of the things, right? So then Dylan is in the not in the men's room, in the bedroom, complaining about Melanie to Carl. Now, to be fair, Carl did not say anything. This was all Dylan. That, how much longer are you going to put Sincere through this? You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of this. How much does it have to be doom and gloom in this villa? And da-da-da-da-da. And this is going to be a thing that's going to continue to happen on the outside. So how many more times are we going to do this? Either you're going to stick it out with this dude or y'all going to break up. Da-da-da-da. Like, I'm just exhausted. And I'm like, Dylan is just... Like, it's not even your relationship, dude. It's not even your situationship. And it's really the audacity considering how Kenzie is still playing in your face. She got the ick from you quick, fast, in a hurry. With all of your melodrama. So it's really the audacity that you speak on other people's relationships, situationships, just like you were the one to tell Carl when he came back into this villa that it was Anaya that had to, earn, Carl back and make him twice as much breakfast and all this other nonsense. And none of that was going to happen because Carl folded like the lawn chair. You know what I'm saying? Those walls were paper thin and non-existent because he wanted her down bad. So anyways, Melanie is still trying to rationalize a plan for her and Sincere to work out on the outside to change the family's mind. And this is what I'm saying. This is what Melanie has been doing for 6 weeks into this villa. She is going to cry about Sincere. She's going to cuss out and get upset about Sincere. She's going to be a shell of herself over Sincere. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, she wants that man. She wanted to work with that man. So that is why these villa girls, yes, that they'll be support of this toxicity, but they've also called her out as well. Because ultimately, they're trying to, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to meet her where she's at. And if you keep meeting Sincere, you're not going to dump him. What's the point? So this was the conversation in which in the morning that while Trinity was getting ready and doing her makeup and stuff, Melanie was like, you know, I've never made no dumb decision. I've never done anything stupid in my life and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? And so she said basically that if her mom approves Sincere that she's going to work on her mom because she feels that her mom is easier to work on to convince that Sincere is this good guy compared to her sister, you know what I'm saying? She knows her sister's going to say F it, but she feels that if she can convince her mom that Sincere has changed for the better, that their relationship is going to be smooth sailing. I just cannot. And then Melanie leaves in lingerie. Melanie leaves in lingerie. You know what I'm saying? For Sincere, like I keep telling you, she wants that man. So anyway, Sincere is talking to the fellas in the bedroom and, you know, saying that family is going to feel how they're going to feel. Zach Attack said that the world will see how you've grown. Zach, this is why your ASS, I'll say later. I will say later. You know what I'm saying? Because you really have the audacity. What has Sincere grown from? He did not give a F that his own daddy was cussing him out yesterday. He did not give an F that Melanie's family was cussing out yesterday. He shed no tears. He shed no tears yesterday, was not remorseful for a damn thing. So then you guys, really there was not much bed activity tonight. Maybe all these people were exhausted, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they were all tired from family day is what it sounds like. They all could potentially be all worn out from family day because really Trinity and Bryce, I think they were the only ones that gave like a couple pecks. And then even Kenzie and Dylan, couple pecks. Everybody else was knocked out. Everybody else was knocked the F out. So then it was funny because Ian Sterling was like, you know, for the next morning that, you know, these people need to get up and everything else. And I don't know a song that could wake them up. And so there was a song, I don't know if it's karaoke or what, but it was like, good morning, get your ASS up. But it was like in a song. So then the next morning in the kitchen, Bryce is comforting Sincere. You know what I'm saying? That it's another day. It's a fresh new 24 hours. You and Melanie are going to get through this. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? I am in the twilight zone. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, Melanie is still being delulu about Sincere. You know what I'm saying? About how she knows right from wrong, how she knows, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm talking about. She rationalizes, you know what I'm saying? She'll be mad, she'll cry, but then she rationalizes how it's going to work with her and Sincere. So imagine you have been living with this in the villa for 6 entire weeks with no access to the outside world. What are y'all gonna do? Yes, sometimes you probably told Melanie, leave this ninja alone. He's playing in your face. But ultimately, if you do not want to leave the ninja alone, what are they supposed to do? So Trinity was like, you're not stupid. She said, listen, if it works on the outside, it's going to work. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because at this point, it's the same situation with all these other islanders like Kata, who was in Delulu about her being in a situationship. You know what I'm saying? If you like it, I love it. But the thing of it is, Melanie wants this validation from the people in the villa at the same time. She wants there to be support of this toxicity because she did not like when it was all said and done, both families coming at her and Sincere like that because they did it in the harder way. You know what I'm saying? They had sex in the harder way. So ultimately, she's attached now. And we're praying that there's not a baby in 2027 as well. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You catch my drift? So with that being said, we move over to the gym section of the morning, and it was weird. Carl was working out, and Zach was touching his abs and said, these are the type of abs I want. No! What is wrong with Zach? Why can't he keep his hands off these men? It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. So Zach wants to have a conversation now with Carl about seeing each other's families and all this and all that. And Zach's like, yeah, Kata said that her mom really loved me. And Zach Attack, I'm here to tell you, I don't care. I do not care. And so then, you guys, there was a conversation with Kenzie, Kata, and Tate, you guys. And they were, and Kata's just gushing again about her mom, that she reassured her about Zach Attack and all of this and all of that. And, and so then she was asked if she told them that her and Zach Attack were exclusive. And she's like, of course I told them that we were exclusive and that we were leaving together and all this and all of that. And so then Kenzie also talks about how she wants to be exclusive with Dylan. I need to believe it to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, she had an ick with Dylan on multiple occasions. When she told him that she kissed Gal, you know what I'm saying? When he had that whole emotional breakdown so he can get some cookies in the bed. And then the next morning where she gave him that awkward hug and all of this and all of that. I'm not buying what she's selling. So in the middle of this conversation, the girls have a bird's eye view of the men at the gym. And at this point, it is Bryce that is doing pull-ups. It is Dylan over there, and it is Zach Attack. And why are they all alternating, sitting on top of Bryce's laps, like sitting on top of his junk and taking pictures? And the girls were even like, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. This is disturbing. Now, I know that Bryce and Zach Attack tried to defend this yesterday in Family Day and say that this is just how, men act. I'm here to tell you, you guys, in all of my years, I've never seen men act like that. In all of my years, I don't know men that act like that. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. But yeah, just doing all the squatting on all of each other. And then Zach's taking pictures of this. Like, I'm very grossed out. I'm very disgusted. Enough is enough. Thank goodness the finale is on Sunday. So Melanie and Sincere are having a conversation in all the feels. You know what I mean? And she's talking about how she wants to have their families combined. She wants to bring everybody together, even though it looked like y'all family did not even want to take a family photo together. Y'all did separate photo booths, you know what I'm saying, compared to all the other Islanders that did combined photo booths and separate photo booths. You didn't want to do a group photo in the speakeasy. So how is the families going to come together, is my question. How are the families going to come together is what I want to know. Y'all need to start the Beyond the Villa cameras rolling Monday. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is Anaya and Trinity and Bryce, they are sitting across from where they could see Melanie and Sincere have a conversation, and they are all of a sudden body language experts, and they're like, this looks like a better conversation today. This looks like, things are, coming along. And so Trinity was like, you know what? As long as Melanie is happy, I'm happy. Because that's what you have to do at this point. If somebody wants to stay in a toxic relationship, a toxic situationship, a toxic marriage, this is all you could do. You can love them from afar. You could love them from afar and say, if you like it, I love it. But it wouldn't be me and it couldn't be me. That's all you could do. Because ultimately, if you tell them too much to leave and to leave this alone and that is toxic, they're going to pull away. If you give them support, it is false reassurance and it's just more of a mess. So you just have to be diplomatic. So then, Melanie said that she wished that Sincere's mom came. I don't think you do, because I believe she's allegedly on Tickety Talk claiming that she wishes that Bryce was her son. Allegedly, that's what the streets are saying. I don't know if that's true, right? And so Sincere was like, well, you'll meet her on the outside, but his face was not giving that. And so, Sincere said that, he wants to really see how this goes, that he's going to be, leading the charge. And Melanie was like, well, you got to drive this. You got to drive this if you want to see where it goes. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to be, the speed driver and you're going to be the passenger princess. Now there's another meaning of passenger princess. You know what I'm saying? But anyways. Dylan is having a conversation with Zach Attack, Anaya, and I can't remember who else was there in the beanbags. And he said that people tell him that he looks like the actor James Martin. And I want to know who those people are. I want to know who those people are that say that, because I feel like that's an insult to James Martin. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? If you like it, I love it. I'm a pull a Trinity. If you like it, I love it, right? So then from there, we get a text. Dylan gets a text message about a nasty challenge that is going to take place, and I am very disgusted with Love Island production. This should have never happened. This is inappropriate. This is out of bounds. Basically, there's a text message that says it's going to be watering your mouths and all this and all of that. And Zack Attack was so excited that this is going to be a food challenge. He said, I've got a long tongue and Kate has got a big wide mouth. So we're going to crush this. And Anaya was thinking about it. She was like, oh, we're probably going to have to do like baby bird feeding to each other. That's really disgusting. Carl's face was hilarious because Carl's face was given, I ain't sign up for this SHIT. I thought this was just about love. That is what Carl's face was. But production, I'm going to say this again. Y'all fumbled. Y'all fumbled. These are potential finalists to win $100,000. They're about to be set. Their lives are about to change with all these brand deals, all these opportunities. And you can't give them a baby challenge. You can't give them a Mr. and Mrs. compatibility challenge. You can't even give them a social media challenge that might be a little messy, but mostly lighthearted. You know what I'm saying? You have to have them go out with a bang on this. And then you confirm that this is the last challenge of the season. So, as expected, this absolutely was nasty work, you guys. So what happens is, all of the couples are dressed up, and Casey and TT go first. And what happens is there's a receipt that shows up on items that you have to pick up, right? So you have to pick up, I believe for Casey, like he had to wheel around TT because it's 2 rounds. The first round is you wheel around TT and pick up 2 items, and you have to transfer the food via your mouth, like sardines and other nasty stuff through your mouth into this weight scale, right? Like how you weigh stuff at the store, at the grocery store. And then once it reaches its desired weight, you know what I'm saying? Then you guys have to switch. Now TT has to push KC around. You know what I'm saying? And pick these nasty ingredients, right? And then do the same thing, transferring mouth to mouth to this weight scale. It was very disgusting. You could see the spit, the saliva. They kept saying that everything smelled like ASS, and I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Everything smelled like ASS. Everything smelled like fish. Everything just smelled disgusting from what they were describing, right? So that happens, and after this, there was a point where Casey thought that TT was going to throw up in his mouth, and then after you do the grocery piece, there's slime that can hit you in the midst. It's why you're trying to search for the groceries. But then you have a dessert receipt that prints out that you have to take across the finish line, but the finish line is a slip and slide. So everybody was falling on their ASS this entire time. And then once that is over, you have to give each other a passionate kiss. So then Kenzie and Dylan go next. And theirs was disgusting because basically Dylan just opened up the whole thing of ketchup and poured it in his mouth and then transferred it to Kenzie's mouth. And Kenzie was like, she doesn't have much of a gag reflex, but you know what I'm saying? This was something. She doesn't know if she could do ketchup again. Then they had to transfer beans. That equally was disgusting. This whole challenge was absolutely nasty. It was giving a humiliation ritual. Like, I'm sure a lot of people probably fast forward this, but it's really, this whole thing was disgusting, right? And so then what happened as well, they had to transfer balls in each other's mouths. Like, it's just, the whole thing is just disturbing. And so ultimately, when it's their turn to come across the finish line with the dessert items, here goes Kenzie. She's like, well, if I keep falling on my ASS, let me hit the clam slam. You know what I'm saying? Let me hit the splits. And so then KC was like, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You get your morning breakfast, your morning coffee. Kenzie's going to be hitting the splits, right? So then next was Melanie and Sincere. And I couldn't help by them doing this order. I was like, was this the order of America's vote? That was in the back of my mind. And so Melanie and Sincere go next. They have to transfer mushrooms, which was absolutely nasty. They also had to transfer sardines and all of this and all of that. And then they also had to transfer pickles, although it's called something else. I believe Carl knew what it was, or whatever the case may be. But all of it was just yuck. All of it was just nasty. So Melanie was the only person that did like a shuffle, did like a little, 1-2 shuffle across the slip and slide to make it across, and didn't really have too many falls compared to some of the other Islanders. Next, we have Zack Attack and Kata. And I feel that they enjoyed this challenge too much. Zack Attack loving nasty challenges like this is just no bueno for me, right? So he is downing himself all over his body, all over his chest, all of these beans that he's got to transfer in Kata's mouth, and it was just disgusting. And then there was a part at the end as well where, Kata had milk on herself, so she was pouring milk on herself. And then finally, eventually, after her and Zack Attack stopped, falling all over the slip and slide and they had to kiss, he then poured the milk all over her. You know what I'm saying? Poured it all over her body and then poured it down her mouth. And then, child, I just couldn't. I just could not. So then, you guys, next was Anaya and Carl. So they had to do a transfer of mayo that looked very interesting. But by interesting, I mean it freaked out the whole villa. You know what I'm saying? Of that transfer. And so then when when Anaya was kind of coming down with the desserts, she kept falling. And I felt like it was worse for the tall people. It seemed like, Carl was trying to go at full speed. He kept falling. Anaya was trying to do something. She kept falling. She was like, listen, this may not look like I'm an athlete, but I'm here to tell you I'm athletic. It is not as easy as it looks. She had this big fall, you guys, on her, on her stomach. And Melanie was like, at least that ASS shook when you fell. And then when Anaya had to go back to get more ingredients before she even made it to the platform, she slipped and fell, and she had a hard fall too. I'm like, Anaya is getting jacked up in here. Why did we do this challenge? So now you got these Islanders all bummed up and jacked up heading into the finale. All bruised up, you know what I'm saying? In pain. What was the purpose? What was the reason for all of this, right? So then last but not least, it is y'all winners, right? It's y'all winners, Trinity and Bryce, right? So they also had to transfer mushrooms and sardines. Bryce was drinking this stuff from the can, and it was ugh. It was ugh. So that was, the challenge, and, everybody, I guess did the best they could with the circumstances. There was no winner in this. We were all losers in this, including the participants and including the viewers. Production, never do this SHIT again. Even the UK got rid of their food challenges. Why can't you? Why can't you? I don't know what producer it is that has a kink for this. I just wish it would stop. And to do this, like I said, right before the finale is diabolical, because a lot of the viewers did not watch this challenge like I did. They fast forward to see who made it to the finale. So then what happens is everybody sits in their couples to discuss the challenge as they all smell like sardines and all of the elements of that challenge. And they're all sitting on towels in various portions of the villa. Bryce and Trinity still kiss it out even after it's said and done, even though they're telling each other your breath stank. You know what I'm saying? They kiss again. And so then what happens is Kenzie gets a text, right? It says, who is still hungry? We've got a takeout dinner, family style. Please go get ready. So everybody now is getting into the shower. You know what I'm saying? Is getting ready. Even after getting in the shower, Melanie's like, listen, look at here. I still feel like I smell like sardines. I'm not going to be able to get that smell out of my head for a while. So then Sincere's in the bathroom. He's still complaining about the families to Casey. Talking about, he's mad. He has to rebuild with both families, right? And I feel like that's kind of where his irritation is. He probably wasn't expecting his family to come at him that hard or whatever else, but he just keeps saying that he's going to rebuild. And like I said, I'll just have to see it to believe it, right? And so then, different Islanders were talking about some of their family traditions that they do when they have like a big family dinner. And so Anaya said that her family does impersonation. So basically they'll impersonate each other, right? And so it was funny because Anaya did this impersonation of Kata, and she hit the nail on the head, you guys. She absolutely hit the nail on the head, and I loved every single moment of it, y'all. So that happened, right? And so then as well, Anaya hit, she impersonated TT, and she was like, you little girl. It was funny though. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was laughing. So they have Chinese takeout, and I believe Anaya was asking Carl in the background if he could teach her how to eat with chopsticks. I believe that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Unless my ears were playing tricks on me, but that's what it sounded like to me, right? And so then ultimately as well, you know, they had a full-on assortment of fried rice. It looked like General Tso's chicken. You know what I'm saying? I'm just making stuff up. A crab ragoon. You know what I'm saying? And all this and all that. Fortune cookies. Like it looked like what it looked like. So they all put it on these big family style trays and put it all at the table for them to sit there and eat, right? And Kata could not figure out how to open up crab ragoon. And I was about, you know what I'm saying? I was like, really, Kata? Crab ragoon's my thing. Like you don't know how to work that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to open up and eat it. You know what I mean? Anyways, Trinity gives a toast and says that, you know, she's happy and sad. She's happy that she met all these people. She's sad that all of this is going to be coming to an end soon, but she is glad to be in the presence of everyone. Anaya then asks, what was everyone's favorite moment? So a lot of people said their favorite moment was coming into the villa. But then Dylan was like, well, unfortunately for, you know, me and Carl, we had to come in with 12 other men. We didn't get these nice entrances that you guys got. Because I realized that Dylan, Carl, and Tate, that they're all the only cast of people left. Everyone else pretty much are OGs, with the exception of Kata. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is basically OGs. And so Tate said that she thought that she was going to have a hard time coming into this villa, and that's because, you know what I'm saying, she filled your head thinking that, you know what I'm saying, those girls were going to bully you and attack you. And so she said that she is happy that the girls accept her and that the girls love me. And Melanie was like, you're easy to love. And so Casey was like, listen, look at here. I love all of y'all. We've had all of our ups and downs. We've all had our BS, but we are able to come together. And so then Anaya says that she feels that she has grown as a person and she wants to thank each and every single person in this villa for that. And then Zach attack, here we go. Well, you know, I've been digging Bryce since the beginning. No. Nobody ain't trying to hear that, SHIT. Nobody's trying to hear that, Zach. That is why y'all gonna be in the position y'all gonna be in, right? And so Bryce is even looking at Zach crazy, like, this is insane. I'm trying to build a new bromance with Carl because Carl does not hit on me. You know what I'm saying? It gets to a point. It gets to an absolute point. So then Sincere says as well, you know what I'm saying, there's been ups and downs, and he's naming off all the men. He's like, even when I've had my ups and downs, I could turn to, you know, I can turn to Casey, I could turn to Bryce, I could turn to Carl, I could turn to Dylan, I could turn to Zach, I can turn to Anaya, and then I could turn to Trinity. So I guess that from that account, it sounds like Anaya and Trinity are his best girlfriends, so that could explain why they're team Sincere, because I didn't hear Kata's name. I didn't hear Kenzie's name. I didn't hear Tate's name. It sounds like his go-to women in the villa, outside of his couple and Melanie, is Anaya and Trinity. At least that's what it sounded like to me. But y'all don't accuse Trinity of secretly being in love with Sincere, right? And there's never been a follow-up conversation with Anaya and Sincere about Sincere choosing Melanie behind door number one. She moved onward and upward with Casey. So then with that as well, you know what I'm saying? Sincere did some nonsense talking about, I wouldn't have wanted to share this experience with anyone else but this lovely lady, and I sincerely appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But this is who Sincere is. This is what y'all have lived with for the last 6 weeks, right? So Melanie says that she's been standoffish, and one day she decided to turn to Trinity and said that she does not know her, but she said that she wants to get to know her, and that's what she had to do with everybody in this villa to try to get to know them. And then that's how you can, you know, build trust and build friendships in here. So Melanie is going on and on and on, and then the phone chimes. Then we get a text message, y'all. And so then Kata's like, oh, is it me? So Kata says, America has been voting, right? Anaya says, she gets a text. The couples with the fewest votes are dumped from the island. The you know what I'm saying? They've dumped from the island, right? And so Anaya has this look on her face that she thinks that she's going to be leaving. That was the look that she gave me, right? It gave the look that, you know, she's going to be leaving the show. And I don't know why she keeps thinking that she's going to be leaving the show. I don't know if she realizes how much the people love her down. So Anaya and Carl were first to, it looks like they all got an assortment of fortune cookies, you guys. And so ultimately as well, you know what I'm saying, Anaya and Carl go first. So they're holding hands, you know what I'm saying? The girls were saying that they all should hold hands with each other, but Anaya was holding Carl's hand. And so they break apart the fortune cookie, right? They break apart the fortune cookie, and you know what I'm saying? There was not, you have to pull out. See, y'all freaked out about the fortune cookie last night, and I was very confused why y'all did that, you know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, if y'all are familiar with fortune cookies, you have to open it up to see what the message is. So y'all completely lost the plot. Even though I was talking about some crab ragoon, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good, right? So she's holding hands. She opens up the fortune cookie and it says, "The best is yet to come. Congrats, you made it to the finale." And she's like, "Oh my F-U-C-K." It's so funny when Anaya cusses. I can't. So everybody's freaking out. Everybody's clapping for her. Carl runs over to her. And then it was cute because her and Carl like have this moment. And all the girls were telling Anaya, "I told you, I told you, I told you." And Anaya was crying. And she was like, "I was not expecting that." Next, it is time for Trinity and Bryce. You know what I'm saying? And Trinity, they break open the fortune cookie, and her message says, "Your future is looking bright. Congrats on making it to the finale." So Bryce barely could come out of his chair. He runs over to Trinity. Everyone's congratulating Trinity and all this and all that. Bryce sees the 100K. Bryce sees the 100K. He's like, I ain't got to be broke no more. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to be a struggle model anymore. Let me pick up Trinity in the air. You know what I'm saying? And kiss her down, right? And I don't know how I feel about this because it's like you're happy for everybody, but not everybody knows their results at the same time. So this is also kind of messy too. But anyways, I kept saying, I was like, Bryce sees that 100K. Bryce sees that 100K. Melanie is next, right? And this is playing out so far like it did last season, right? So she is playing, you know what I'm saying? She opens up her fortune cookie and it says that, you know, and it was funny because the moment that she broke open the fortune cookie, it was in sync with the music. And I was like, that's a good job, sound engineer. That was better than that Ain't Nobody karaoke that y'all tried it with earlier with Karnaya. So then Melanie is reading. She's like, you know, she's smiling or whatever else. And, you know, basically said that, you know, we're smiling. Congrats, you've made it to the finale. So then it was interesting because everyone freaked out for Melanie, right? Everyone freaked out for Melanie. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, I told you, I told you." And so it was core 3, not core 4, you guys. I don't know if y'all peeped that. It was Anaya. It was Trinity and Melanie. They were in this long embrace. They were so happy. They were screaming for each other. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care about anything else. Poor Sincere, he was trying to get in a kiss. He was trying to get in a hug or whatever else, even though he should be still in the doghouse or, you know what I'm saying, or single and left this villa a long time ago. And even Casey was like, "I see they didn't boot your ASS." I know Casey's got to be, you know what I'm saying? I know Casey's got to feel a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like what in the H-double-L, right? So it was interesting because Kata did not know her results. So it was not a core 4 celebration. And she had this look on her face like, is it me? Are me and you going to be dumped from the villa and everything else? So, and I made a note that Kata did not go over there to congratulate them. Trinity was extremely happy, and she said that she is so happy for Melanie. And as you know, Kata is her bestie in there. So next, it is Kenzie and Dylan's turn. And keep this in mind, y'all. I kept saying it's either going to be core 4 in the finale, or it is going to be core 3 in Kenzie, right? So Kenzie gets a message that says, "Your journey ends here." And everybody was so sad, right? Everybody was so sad. They got up and she's like, you know, she was all monotone. She's like, you know, "I'm happy, you guys. I'm really happy." And all this and all that. You know, I feel like I've already won and all this and all that. But you know what I'm saying? Not too much on this. You know, they're all trying to comfort her. They're all sad and they're all shocked. But we got 2 more couples to go because we still got to figure out who's going to get into this finale. So they do the same thing they had Shelly and Ace do last season, as well as Iris and Pepe, which was open up their stuff at the same time, which was having Casey and TT and Kata and Zach open up their fortune cookies at the same time. So then it goes to commercial. So TT opens up hers, and it says, Tiara and Casey, your time in the villa, your villa chapter is over, but your chapter as a couple is not finished. And so then I looked at Casey's face, and Casey's face told me I should have stayed in a couple with Anaya. I would be in the finals if I was with Anaya. And you are correct, Casey, that not even that girlfriend proposal was going to get you in this finale, because the North remembers of how Anaya had that full-on breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I keep trying to tell y'all, listen, there's a new audience that's into this show, but for y'all new viewers, this show's about the women. And the women control the voting block. And y'all can talk all that cash ASHIT on the Twitters, or on the threads, on the Instagrammies, on the Facebook, on the Tickety Talk, on the Reddit, you know what I'm saying? On the YouTube. But guess what? There are silent voters. There are silent majority voters up in this witch with a B. You know what I'm saying? I try to tell y'all, I try to help y'all out. You know what I'm saying? But some of y'all were convinced that Casey and TT, after everything, was going to make Final Four. And I was like, where? Last season, they just had a Casa boy win. Y'all really thought that they were going to let a Casa black girl win. Do you know what show this is? Do you know the political climate right now? Do you know what's happening? Did you really think they were going to reward Casey and TT? And there's a whole hit piece out there on the manosphere negatively influencing Love Island and all of the negative stories about the gambling, because y'all were going to have enough to get gas in y'all cars if y'all won, if Casey won. No. So Kata then, in the midst of this, reads hers and says, exciting times are away. Congrats. We made it to the finale. And guess what? Nobody congratulated them. Everybody in that villa was upset about Casey and TT. So Casey said that this is the best summer, that he loves everyone, that he's blessed to leave with a girlfriend. TT said that she's blessed, you know what I'm saying, to meet everybody, that she's happy. And Kenzie then, I guess for some reason, felt like she needed to give another speech and said, you know, she's grateful, she's rooting for all of y'all, right? So then, you guys, the moment y'all been waiting for, there was another Casey and Anaya moment. And listen, I'm former Kanaya Dion, because when the chemistry was there, when Casey and Anaya, I saw the vision. When they got along for those first 2.5 weeks, I saw the vision, right? I saw the vision. I saw the potential, because Casey, I'm going to tell you what the truth is. You were the favorite guy in this villa. You were on the fast track to the 100K up in this villa. Then you started moving weird. Then you were moving weird. You know what I'm saying? You were letting these other dudes that were jealous of you and Anaya having that top spot in this villa. You let them get in your head. You let them gas you up and trick you out of your spot in the finale. It could have been you, Casey. It could have been 4 OG girls and 4 OG boys in the villa. And listen, I have no problem with you bringing back Tay from Casa Amor. It was just the way that everything unfolded. It was the way that, you know what I'm saying? There was, you know what I'm saying? That whole exchange at the Casa recoupling, that was it and that was all. That was it and that was all. People were going to be determined at that point to make sure you did not see that 100K and you did not see that finale. And I think you realized that movie night. And I think you got a glimmer of hope once you saw the America vote, you know what I'm saying, that they put you and TT temporarily at the top. But here's unfortunately what happened to Casey, right? So what happened was the Trinity Anaya voters and the Melanie voters decided for this one vote, they were all going to vote Core 4. They know Kata does not have the fan base to win this show, but they did this so that Kenzie's behind didn't get in here with all of her exploring, and you didn't get in here. Now, I love me some black love. You know what I'm saying? I'm black love deal, right? I was pissed when Ace and Shelly didn't make it last year, but seeing what's currently going on with Ace and Shelly, maybe it was for the best. You know what I'm saying? But Casey, you had it right there for the taking. You let other people get in your head and trick you out your spot and everything else. And ultimately, you're responsible for your actions as well. But that's what happened, right? So what happened was Casey and Anaya had a moment. And Casey was like to Anaya, bring it in. You know what I'm saying? Bring it in. And Anaya was like, I am glad that you found somebody that you could cherish. And I was expecting Casey to respond, I'm glad you found Carl. You know what Casey said? I am happy you are in the DAMN finals. You deserve this SHIT. You deserve everything. You know what I'm saying? But I made a note. I was like, he didn't say that he was happy for her and Carl. He didn't say he was happy for her and Carl. That was interesting to me. That was interesting. Former Kanaya fans, what do you think that means? Now, listen, I'm not going to hold y'all. I was feeling the embrace. I was feeling, you know what I'm saying, the going along to get along. You know what I'm saying? And Anaya had a lot of nice things to say. She said that Casey was going to make her cry. Anaya had a beach hut confessional, and she said saying bye to Casey was so sad that she started her journey here with Casey. And she said, yes, that they had their downs, but she genuinely felt as though that Casey brought so much into the villa. And she said that she is happy that he found TT and everything else. She thinks that TT is beautiful and a great person and all of this and all of that, right? And so then Anaya, you know what I'm saying, eventually catches up to the girls in the dressing room to help TT and Kenzie pack. And Anaya tells TT, you are so deserving of love, and that she feels that that TT changed Casey for the better. And then the men are in the bedroom helping Casey and Dylan pack, and they're still on the Still I Rise. Then Melanie and Kenzie have a conversation, you guys, and I just didn't care about their friendship or lack thereof, because the moment that Corbin was competition, Kenzie dipped up on out of that friendship with Melanie and was nowhere to be found again, and created an alliance with Jen and Soul. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. But Melanie was like, you know, we had our friendship up and downs and all this. You were still my sister, and I wish you the best. We had the best summer in life and all this and all that. Then Dylan and Carl have this conversation like, you are my best man in here, bud, and da-da-da-da-da. And so then Sincere and oh, that's what I meant to... Sincere and KC have a conversation. You went from nobody being in front of your door to leaving with a girlfriend. But remember, that is what KC wanted to hold resentment against Anaya about. Now, all of a sudden, it's a joke. Now, all of a sudden, he has no problem laughing about it. You know what I'm saying? KC says that he wouldn't change anything. And then he tells, Sincere, we got crazy dreams of what we want to do outside of here. I told you, him, Corbin, and, the Three Musketeers, Casey, Corbin, and Sincere, they have plans to knock these down when they get out of the villa. And I keep trying to tell you. Right? So Casey said that he's been on a journey and everything else, leaving with somebody. He's got a girl. And then Kenzie hits us with one more last clam slam. One more last split, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, I got on underwear, so it's okay. So then all of the final four, they get a text message as Casey and Kenzie and their couples leave. And, they said that they're the final four, right? So they all get beach hut confessionals. They're all kissing each other. They get to pop the champagne and everything else. And then we had to vote. So I already voted, you guys. As you know, all my votes went to Anaya and Carl. You know what I'm saying? I don't split any votes. Here's the thing. I know Trinity and Bryce are going to win, but this is more about Anaya and Carl getting second place for me. And it seems that some people are upset that Casey and TT did not make it, but I'm here to tell y'all, to y'all new viewers, it is a popularity contest at the end of the day. It is about the women at the end of the day. That is why you see Melanie and Sincere up in this final. She has a large fan base. You know what I'm saying? So there was never going to be a situation that they were not going to make this final unless Melanie self-evicted. So there was that. But I'm happy with the vote results because, listen, Kata and Zach are not touching that 100K. I would be shocked if Melanie and Sincere get anything higher than third place with all that toxicity that was going on. Y'all need to either just be focusing on Brinity or Karnaya. You know what I'm saying? That just needs to be the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? That just needs to be first and second place with whatever y'all do. So I only had 3 votes. You know what I'm saying? I'll post it on the Tickety Talk. But I need to hear from y'all. What did y'all think of this episode? What did y'all think of the results of the finalists and everything else? And, you know, who are you rooting for to win? And what did y'all like about this episode? So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do me the biggest favor. Hype the video. Hype the video, please. There's that. That is it. That is all. It's todos es final. It's finito. It's the end of the rosy in the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post some content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.